Hey y'all, hello. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for coming to visit me. All right, so today I'm going to be discussing weapons in more detail. What I noticed is that there is a gap um, for people that are new or even people that are seasoned, but they just kind of learned on the cuff. Terminology wise, there is some gaps. So I created this video to kind of fill in those gaps for people, right? So for the new person coming in, so that they will understand terminology and there will be some clarifications, even from the streets. Like I'm from Chicago, and so there were certain things we call things that are not necessarily like the terminology that is textbook or accurate. So today we're going to be discussing that and a couple of other little tips. And I would like for you all to share your ideas, your feedback in the comments. And, basically, we're all learning, teaching, sharing, building up each other. And so I would like to have valuable information for those that are new coming in to where they won't feel like, I don't know this, I haven't been taught, and they won't feel insecure jumping into a new arena. And so I am creating the basis for that information to be shared. I'm also going to have interviews coming up very soon. I have some scheduled so that you all will be able to hear from other people. I believe that there is a wealth of information. And you know what? We are a unit. And so that wealth of information is going to come from diverse people. Some people are phenomenal at one thing, and other people are phenomenal at something else. And so I love to utilize them all so that you can learn and we can learn the best and the most accurate information. And then again, iron sharpens iron. And one more thing I want to share before I get started in this tutorial or educational video, which is basically going to be a resource for terminology. It will be literally like almost like a your encyclopedia resource for 2A basics. Okay. But the other thing I want to share that is exciting to me is the online chamber of commerce that I am building in the businesses and 2A members that are joining this Chamber of Commerce, because I think it's phenomenal to have the Chamber of Commerce where each business builds one another. I said on a prior video, there are 7.9 billion people in the earth. Those are the ones that are accounted for. It's probably more than that. 7.9 billion people is your market. And so within our Chamber of Commerce, the online Chamber of Commerce, we utilize the strengths of one another to build the businesses. So some people may have, I have information in this. Oh, you need this piece. Oh, and I have this piece. And we put the puzzle together to make a great unit. So the online Chamber of Commerce, something that I am building, and I have a lot of people that are being a part, their businesses, their 2A representation is even a part of this online Chamber of Commerce. So if you want to tap in and you want to be a part of that, and basically I will share this with you, there will be online conventions. So literally people will jump online, and there will be some people will be the speaker or the representative of that meeting that's online, while other people tap in and comment, communicate. I mean, it's phenomenal, and it's a phenomenal time to engage and network. So I'm excited. If you want to tap into that online Chamber of Commerce, you can message me, you can email me. Um, you can contact me, and all of the information is going to be below this video. So just shoot me. You can shoot me a message through DM via Instagram. You can shoot me a message via email, whatever. You can comment, and I will be in contact with you to add you to this online chamber of commerce so we can get it popping even more and multiply even more and network and sharpen each other even more. Okay, now let's get into the content of this video, which is informational. Okay, so I know when it comes to the 2A community, we like pop, 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 right? We let a buzz. It's fun, it's exhilarating, and it is necessary for us to train. This video is going to be more informational. This is going to be the a basis. I find a lot of times people are ready to skip the basics, the information, and go straight to the shooting. Why not? It's fun. But also I find that, you know, let me give you an example. Somebody goes out and buys a weapon. They buy the weapon and they get into a situation. It is an argument. Now, typically, they would have an argument with a person and maybe de-escalate because they don't have a weapon. But now, because they have a weapon, they draw on a weapon and they're ready to shoot. But they don't even, they're ready to use excessive force, and it doesn't even take all of the force that they're trying to utilize. And so there are things that people need to learn as it pertains to de-escalation. And just because if you was a punk before you got a weapon, you're going to be a punk after you have a weapon, and you're going to draw your weapon every 5 seconds and because you soft. But baby, you need to be taught, because there are de-escalation tactics. And not only are there de-escalation tactics, I don't want to be responsible for eliminating, especially my own people. I don't want to be responsible for eliminating the Most High's creation. But do know that if it is necessary, I'm going to eliminate a actual and real threat. That's the problem. You got a lot of people, they haven't learned, they haven't taken the time to learn the basics, but they jump up, and it look good, pop, pop, pop. It look good until you're in a situation that is unaccounted for. And just because somebody else has the ability to get off, they know the laws, they've learned. And connections doesn't mean you will. So you need to learn, and you need to learn exactly what to do, what not to do, because some situations definitely can be avoided. People will come. I'm going to speak candidly, and then I'm going to go into the content of this video. People will come, and I don't comment on a lot of things, but I did a video on de-escalation on Instagram. And I when I completed that video, I was passionate about the fact that just because you are surrounded by officers does not mean that they are a real threat. That does not mean that you go and you draw your weapon. See, there's a lot of there's a divide where you have some people like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Pause, press play. And I'm going to speak to you from my own personal experience. Now, I went out to train a ton of people, and it was identified that I was going to train a ton of people. I was in a place in the middle of nowhere, and I was encircled around by a ton of law enforcement. Some didn't even know why they were there. See, this is why it takes for you to have discernment. Some people don't even know why they're present, why they're there. They're sent on missions thinking that you're an adversary or enemy, and they don't even know why they're there. But there was one person that was trying to escalate everything. And there was somebody that was there with me, but there was one person, trying to cause a provocation, a provoking, so that I and the person I was with would be on the news. It was a provocation. And the person I was with was ready to go for it. Like, press pause. Because you all need to learn de-escalation. You need to learn the tactics. You need to understand that everybody that presents themselves don't even know why they're present. There were a ton of people that didn't even know why they were standing there, and they had a look on their face like, I hope nothing happens. I see people may get upset, but I look at people like somewhere people are his creation. They are the most highest creation. So when this thing occurred, it's back and forth, and I'm there and I'm looking. And the most high spoke through my mouth in power. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of this altercation? What is the purpose of these words? What's the purpose and the intent? Intent. See, because it was a place of authority, but it was also a place to get to the bottom of it. See, we understand all this back and forth is all it's going to do is generate, I could do this, I could do that, I could do that. What's the purpose? Because see, the ultimate goal and the ultimate purpose is to eliminate me. You're not going to eliminate me because the Most High set me here. So press pause on all your stupidity, all of your ignorance, and I'm going to keep it pushing. Period. Now, people that have these other, so this one's about learning de-escalation, learning your rights, but also learning authority in the power of the Most High. Because when I spoke, I know everybody present heard something like their mother voice. Don't play with me. There's going to be order here. Because of y'all ego, your pride, your racism, your this, you're going to try to get all of these people here killed over some foolishness. We not doing that. I ain't and they ain't. We not doing it. So finish what you're doing and I'm gonna keep it moving. And that's exactly what happened. So I look at situations. There are people that hop on the scene and their reaction is that of ignorance. Do you understand? The scripture gives us wisdom. Ecclesiastic, there is a time for peace, there is a time for war. To everything, there is a season. And many of you are raising up people that are eliminated easily because of their temperament, because of the lack of knowledge, because they see an image and they think it's in power, but they haven't learned where real power is. Real power is I have the authority to eliminate you all, but I have the peace and the composure to say, it ain't your time yet. And it definitely ain't mine. And a lot of these things occur because of people's fear. So a lot of time you got reactions and people think that it's a strong reaction. Oh, I would have reacted like this. That was fear. That was fear. You're reacting out of fear. You're not keeping your composure. You just think about it. Somebody that's afraid, they're going to, they either gonna run or they're gonna fight. These are the reactions of fear. But when you're not afraid, you can dissect what's really going on. What's the purpose? What's the agenda? What's the goal? Right? When you really are empowered. And so it is time to raise up an empowered mind, a mentality in people, and not just bandwagon people that like to show that they have weapons. There needs to be an intelligent ideology, or you will have an ignorant people that are easily eliminated or easily put in prison because they don't know how to control their demeanor or discern or control the spirits that they encounter. The weapons are necessary, but they're only necessary to eliminate a real threat. Everything that you deem a threat is not a real threat. I'm in Chicago, walked around, didn't even have a gun. And I have men, perverts, rapists trying to walk behind me making noise, and I'll just, out of the authority and the power of the Most High, I will drop kick you. So a lot of people need to deal with their insecurities and ineptness and their fear before they brace their weapon. And the reason why is, the punk. See, people gonna get mad at me. That punk that was in the neighborhood that everybody could beat them down, or they wasn't saying nothing. But when they got that weapon in their hand, then you ain't gonna do this. So you still don't have no heart. You still soft. You just soft with a weapon. So you still what they say, a clizzy. You still, I say a vaginal part. You still soft. You just soft with a weapon. And so I want to raise up a tribe of people that's soft with a weapon. I would prefer that you are a tribe of people that before you even got a weapon, you strong, you empower, you secure. And the tool, the weapon, is just an extension of who you are. Do you understand that? The weapon is just an extension of who you are. Shout out to Flex. So I want to raise up a tribe of people that are soft. And there are plenty of people walking around that are fearful. And then the once they receive their weapon, they're not fearful. Many traumatized people walking around. But I'm gonna move on to the actual content of the video. But I did have to station right there because we got to get our minds right. I love that we can defend ourselves. That's absolutely necessary. So don't think that I'm telling you not to be able to, not to train, and not to prepare to defend and protect yourself in any situation. But we're talking about the typology and classification of firearms. And this is a little brief, okay? It's terms and common issues is what we're going to be discussing. All right, so one terminology, the action of your weapon, the action of weapon. All right, so the firing system of a firearm. So the physical mechanism through which the cartridges are loaded, locked, and extracted. That is called the firing system, and that is also referred to as the action of the weapon. Okay, so your firing system of your firearm is the mechanism where the cartridges are loaded, locked, and extracted. That's your firing system. But also, your firing system is the firing frequency when the trigger is action. So, the action of the weapon also is the amount of the amount of bullets rounds that are released, the frequency when the trigger is actioned, when the trigger is pulled. Okay, so those two are considered the action of the weapon. All right, and so we're going to discuss 5 types of action related to firearms. So you have the single shot, which is 1 round, and then you manually reload. And so you typically will see that in a rifle, 1 shot, 1 round, and then you manually reload. You also see it in some shotguns, 1 round, and then you manually reload. So that's a single shot. That is the action of the weapon. So the action of the weapon is a single shot. That is the firing frequency. Okay, single shot. Another type of action related to firearms is the repeating. That's 1 round for every trigger pull, and the repetitive action required for reloading after each shot. Okay. And some of these things are basic to understand, so I'll just keep it moving. A semi-automatic, it fires a single round for every trigger pull, and it automatically cycles the round. So we know these are typically our EDCs, our everyday carry, right? Those are our semi-automatic. And then you have the burst. This is a type of action. The burst is, it fires a small set of rounds for every trigger pull automatic. So as opposed to one round, it's a small set of rounds, and it went with every trigger pull. Okay. And the last one that we're discussing, the action of the weapon, is the fully automatic. So it fires continually up on a trigger pull until the trigger is released automatically. So that thing, you're holding the trigger and it's going to fire continually. Y'all hear my sound effects. You hear my sound effects for a shotgun. Boom, boom. You know I like that. Okay. Let me get back into this. So the most common categories of firearms are revolvers, pistols, shotgun, rifle, submachine, machine gun, and then other firearms. And your other firearms are your firearms that are kitted, modified, converted, your builds. Those are what are considered your other firearms. Right, so your revolver, your the action revolvers are usually repeating firearms. So you're going to see it revolve. It's a repeating firearm according to the system of operation of the trigger tail. Now revolvers can be of double when the trigger also cocks the hammer, or single action when the hammer is cocked manually. Okay, so that's your revolver. The action, the automatic pistol, your sidearm, which is typically going to be your EDC, your everyday carrier. The action is a single shot repeating automatic pistol. Most people know about that one. Your shotgun is a shoulder fired long gun with one or two unrifled barrels, side by side or over configurations, usually designed to shoot many small projectiles shots rather than a bullet. The caliber of a shotgun is referred to as the gauge and is usually larger in diameter than other small arms. The action, usually single shot, but may also be repeating or semi-automatic. Rifle or carbine is a shoulder-fired long gun with a series of spiral grooves cut inside the barrel. It's rifling, imparting spinning to the projectile. Some rifles have a detachable magazine, like the pistols described above, and others have integral magazines. And I'm going to show you a short little video later, and you'll see the difference if you don't know the difference between the detachable and the integral magazines. A carbine resembles a rifle, but it has a shorter barrel. The action, it is single shot, repeating, semi-automatic, or fully automatic. Okay, and the assault rifle. It can be considered a subcategory of rifles and represent any of various intermediate range magazine-fed military rifles such as the AK-47s, M16 that can be set for automatic or semi-automatic fire. Now the action is semi-automatic or fully automatic. Your submachine. It is a handheld, lightweight, short-barreled machine gun consisting of relatively low-energy handgun type cartridges and fired from the hand, hip, or shoulder. The action, semi-automatic or fully automatic, where the firing system is automatic. The firearm would be classified as an automatic pistol or an automatic submachine gun. And so if people have been seeing the one that was built and it's on the video with Mark the Chopper and Black Rambo and Jay the Shooter and the builder of the weapon. I want to give him credit. I forget what his name is. I apologize. But you see that will fall under this classification. That the weapon that everybody was shooting, it's so pretty. It's just phenomenal. It's wonderful. That 50 cal. All right, so machine gun. It is a firearm that is capable of full automatic firing. more than one shot without manual reloading by a single function of the trigger, and that fires rifle ammunition. It is a generally crew-operated heavy machine gun, but some forms may be fired by single individuals light machine gun. All right, and the action is semi-automatic or fully automatic. The 3D print firearms, that's another one. The 3D print, these firearms, they're manufactured by building layers upon layers of plastic. They have no serial number, and people are building these by like printing. They basically get the blueprint offline, and they use a 3D printer, and they're making firearms like that. For example, these things are creating various complex and solid objects. So that layer up on plastic. So yeah, that's another type that is not very common. Firearm kits. A kit weapon is usually made from a series of parts and components. In most situations, the kit provides the components that require additional machining for full completion. So, the terminology, a lot of people say kitting out your gun. Kitting out your gun, you may switch out certain accessories that are in your gun or add accessories to your gun. So this is what is referred to as kitting out your gun or your firearm kits, or even having the components to put together your weapon complete, from start to finish. Um, so in reference to the kitting out your weapon, I like to pose this question to you all. What do you think, or how do you handle this when it comes to your weapons? I know me, when I go somewhere and I see something, I'm like, oh, I want that, right? Do you purchase something new first, or do you finish putting all of the accessories, hitting your weapon that you currently have? Do you finish, or do you like buy a lot, and then you add your accessories, your sling, your optics, your flashlights, your mags, your red dot? Which do you do? And is there an order to it, or is it just I want what I want when I want it, and later on I'll add it, or let me finish this project and then I'll get another? Comment below. Let me know what you do, how you handle that. All right, main components of a firearm. The more common parts include the barrel, magazine, handguard, pistol grip, trigger, and the trigger guard. All firearms have a receiver, which is comprised of springs, levers, and pistons. All right, so we're finished with that part. We're going to do now, let's see, we are going to pull up firearm parts. I'm going to go into detail discussing the firearm parts. Bear with me. Technology is going to work for me. All right, here we go. Firearm parts and components. So you have your bolt. The bolt is a mechanical part of a firearm, mostly semi-automatic pistols, that blocks the rear chamber while firing, but moves aside to allow another cartridge to be inserted. All right, so that's your bolt. The breech, the essential part of the firearm that holds the firing mechanism where the cartridge is inserted. Then you have your breech block. The movable part of the firing system that seals the moment of firing, preventing gases from escaping. Most modern and small firearms use a bolt. And this is your breech block. Chamber, the portion of the barrel or barrel extension which supports the cartridge case while it is in firing position. So you may have heard people say, do you have a round chambered or chamber a round. So your chamber is the portion of the barrel or barrel extension which supports the cartridge, which is the bullet, the cartridge case, while it is in the firing position. Clip. I like to get to this one because there is some confusion about the clip. I'm going to show you a tiny little video later about the clip. So I know, me being from Chicago, we call the magazine a clip. Streets. The streets call a magazine a clip, but it is not the same thing. Okay. So a clip is a device which contains several cartridges that is fed into the magazine of a firearm. I'm going to show you a video because if you don't know the difference between the clip and a magazine, you need to visually see it because we mesh that stuff together. Y'all know how we are. We just mesh it. It's just a clip. All right, cylinder. The cylinder is a cylindrical rotating part of a revolver that contains the multiple cartridges, the multiple cartridge chambers. Say that real fast. Multiple cartridge chambers. I ain't saying it fast. But it's a cylinder, it's on the revolver, and it has the chambers for you to put your bullets in. Here, okay. All right, magazine. A magazine is the ammunition storage and feeding device of a firearm within or attached to a repeating firearm. Magazines can be removable or integral to the firearm. Your slide. A majority of semi-automatic pistols have a slide, which generally houses the firing pin and the extractor and serves as the bolt. It is spring loaded to chamber a fresh cartridge, provided that the magazine is not empty. So your slide, and that you'll see more if you're new to this about your slide and how to hold your weapon properly, so that when that slide comes back, it does not injure your hand, because it will injure you if you don't have your hand in the right position. The trigger. The trigger is the mechanism that actuates the firing sequence of the firearm. You all should know what a trigger is. But yes. All right. The anatomy of a revolver. And this may seem really simplified, but some people need to understand the terminology. So we'll go through this. The anatomy of a revolver. You're going to have some of these things are standard. You'll see as we go through the different weapon types. Some of the things that are on them are standard. You have your front sight, your rear sight. You have your cylinder on a revolver. You're not going to find that on another. You have your barrel, you have your frame, and your trigger and your grip. It's really simple. And a lot of people, they stick with revolvers, or they have at least a revolver because they feel like they are reliable. There's not a lot to the mechanism. It's just turning. So they look old and ancient, but a lot of people like revolvers because they're reliable. All right. The general anatomy of the semi-automatic pistol. It still has the front sight, the rear sights. It has a side stop. It has your barrel. It has your slide, disassembly lever, your trigger, your magazine release, your hammer, your safety, and your grip. And so that is going to be for your sidearm or your EDC or your semi-automatic pistol. Got it? All right. The general anatomy of a rifle. So you still have your front and your rear sights. You have your barrel. You have your magazine, your ejection port, your receiver, trigger guard, trigger, and safety. And then you have your stock. All right, we're going to do a really quick quiz to see if you learned anything, if you're new, or just if you already know this stuff. Let's see how good you are. A shoulder fired long gun with one or two unrifled barrels. Tell me what that is. Shoulder fired long gun with one or two unrifled barrels. Blue. Yeah, that's the shotgun. That's your shotty. All right. Guns not manufactured in factories. So those are going to be your kitted kitted guns, those are going to be your Bills. Those are going to be your G craft gun. Okay. A handheld, lightweight, short barreled weapon consisting of relatively low energy handgun type cartridge and fired from the hand, hip, or shoulder. Lightweight, short barrel weapon consisting of relatively. All right, so this one is going to be your submachine gun. All right. Weapons which automatically shoot more than one shot without manual reloading by a single function of the trigger. What is it? It's going to be your machine gun. A relatively long barreled firearm fired from the shoulder, having a series of spiral grooves cut inside the barrel. This is going to be your what? The series of grooves, spiral. This, yeah, that's going to be your, if you said rifle, you are correct. All right, that handheld firearm designed from semi-automatic for semi-automatic or automatic operation. That's going to be your pistol. A short or handheld firearm with a revolving cylinder. Of course, B, your revolver. All right, so now I'm going to play the video. It's a short little video. We would call the magazine a clip, but they're two different things. I think that is pretty much what I wanted to cover today, knowledge base wise. I would like to give educational videos in addition to the other videos so that we are a competent people, and the people that we bring into the 2A community will be competent as well, and psychologically balanced people. Um, One more thing I did want to cover is if you have a weapon and it has multiple jams, or um, you have to work through your malfunctions. I want to encourage you not to be discouraged. Like, and if you're at the range or wherever you are and you're working and you have misfeed or you have malfunctions, use that as time not to get frustrated, but to work through your malfunctions. Press through and work on your thing. That is your weapon, okay? So, but I do want to touch bases on this, because a lot of times if you have multiple jams or misfeeds or different things like that, your weapon may not be clean. You may have not oiled your weapon or properly lubricated it. Also, it may be a buildup on the feed. If you're in a hot region, I'm talking about super, super hot, and you fire, your weapon might start to misfeed depending on what type of build you have. It might start to misfeed due to the temperatures. And you may have the wrong ammo. Some weapons, they have a specific type of ammo that they need to fire, especially if they're more on the low cost side of the weapon. Um, Also, when you get your weapon and it's new, sometimes straight out the box, that thing is going to fire perfectly. But you need to let off at least, I would say, probably 1,000 rounds before you say, okay, this is reliable. I like it. It's good. But you tell me, how many rounds do you let off to break your baby's in? How many rounds do you let off before you realize, like, okay, yeah, she is mine? I call them she, like this. She's mine. But I believe that was everything that I wanted to cover. Like, subscribe, comment, share, even share with new 2A people, so that our people start to learn terminology and competency, and just so that this cycles, even for those who are not a part of the 2A community, but they may see and start to learn. Some people may be they may stray away because they think it's something they don't know about. So this is informational, and yeah, glad you all joined me, came to listen, and I'll see you all next time.